For an up-and-comer that doesn't have brand reputation, we have to be different by design. And so differentiation, it favors the newcomers. Our approach here is radically different than what any other agent's doing.
There's 115 days left in the year, and I am committed to, $3 million seems attainable, but I want a $5 million plus listing by the end of the year. You have this $10 million house, and you dump it, type in the address and go to Google, click videos, and nothing comes up.
We should send a fucking FedEx mail. Imagine getting a FedEx letter. You're opening that 100% of the time. We can do that for the first 25 of them. How much is it going to cost us? $250, to mail that? Probably not even that much. This one strategy could legitimately be a $30 to $50 million or $30 to $72 million strategy. Let me kick things off. Krys and I were texting a little bit earlier today, talking about kind of different scenarios in which we wanted to create marketing campaigns around. And the one that we settled in on, and I'm going to set the stage, Krys, but I want you to add color commentary here, is, Krys, what's your average price point?
My average price point is $860.
$860. And the intent here for today's workshop is Krys wants to break into the higher end. And we would define higher end as north of 3 million, right, Krys?
Yeah, I woke up the other day and I said there's 115 days left in the year, and I am committed to, 3 million seems attainable, but I want a $5 million plus listing by the end of the year.
Okay.
My biggest transaction is about 3.5 so far. 3 has been my biggest, and I want to get past that.
Okay. In your market right now, just for context, how big is the luxury market? Because I think right now for people who will watch the replay, or just for our own context here, 3 million might be 3 houses in a market. How big is the $3 to $5 million market in your area?
Yeah. So to give you some perspective, the median price home in LA County is $900,000. The median price in OC is 1.4. The median price in San Diego is 1.1. So there are an abundance of homes above $3 million in all the markets that we're serving.
So the desired outcome that we're trying to achieve here is to develop a marketing campaign specifically to help Krys move up market from his average price point of $860 up to 3, 4, 5, and above. Where I like to start here, Krys, is what I want to do is I want to do a little bit of a competitive analysis first. Yeah. And then talk a little bit about the consumer and the type of people that we're marketing to. So when we think about a competitor analysis, specifically in the area in which you want to serve, is that market dominated by 2, 3, 4 agents? Is that market a mixed bag of 100 agents who are kind of like you, get a $3 million listing once in a while, but primarily work the lower end? What's the makeup of the market today competitively?
I think competitively, especially because LA County is so big, we have a very mixed bag of players. There's certainly a handful that are the popular sort of I don't want to say household names, but the ones that everybody knows in the industry, like the Aaron Kerman or the Rainey Williams, the people that are dominating in the sense of doing billions. But the reality is that's still such a small portion of the market. That there are tons of agents doing the rest of the transactions.
Yeah, so we're talking basically this is not a zero-sum game where we're taking market share for someone who has that 60% market. There are billboards on every billboard. This is there are some titans in the market, but they're still relatively small as it relates to market share compared to the overall volume. So is it safe to say no one's doing more than 10% of the volume at this stage? Would that be insane
I don't think
at this stage?
Correct. And not to mention, as the price point goes up, see, that's the thing is our price is so high to begin with that it was the mom and pop sort of agents naturally have been elevating to these more luxury markets because the economy has turned into a way that it's just getting that much more expensive.
Yeah.
So it's even a $3 million home in some of these areas that I'm talking about, they're not fancy. They're luxury via the price point, but they can still look like dumps.
If you have an established brand in a category, what can happen is consumers become really comfortable buying from that brand. And I'll give you an example. Hood is obviously a very popular company that does dairy products. They have obviously milk, right? As an example of that. If Hood came out and offered oat milk, as an example, people who buy Hood milk would likely buy Hood oat milk. But if you're a new brand, like Oatly, when Oatly first came on the scene, Oatly had to kind of compete against some of these larger titans in the space. And so their branding, their messaging, the packaging, it all had to be different. And so they couldn't just like rely on their brand reputation and recognition to be able to sell product. They had to differentiate by design. And so differentiation, it favors for lack of a better way of describing it, it favors the newcomers. Differentiation is not necessarily needed if you've got an established brand. If I'm selling Coke, and let's say they're Coke in that scenario, well, like Coke keeps their branding pretty, like Diet Coke and Coke look pretty damn similar. If you're selling Liquid Death, they're not putting in a Coke bottle, they're putting into a can. So when it comes to marketing and positioning, we want to sort of lean into this idea that if we're an up and comer that doesn't have a brand reputation, we have to be different by design. Period. And so I think the thing that we would want to have to communicate here is I don't think a general marketing piece makes a lot of sense. Rather, I think a personalized piece that's easy to personalize makes a lot more sense. Meaning that if we're going after $5 million listings, we can all do the math. If you're an agent charging, let's say, a premium, you're gonna make a lot of money in the sale of that property, rightfully so. So the idea of mass marketing, saying the same campaign to all 100 expireds every month, doesn't make a lot of sense in this case. This is a little bit like let's put some sweat equity into it. So Vladimir, I think the first thing would be, why wouldn't we have a design? Let's talk about maybe a full page letter style, not so much a postcard. I love the brand colors you guys have. I think we can really work with these brand colors. So Vladimir, let's kind of get into a full page color, full page design color. And I like the idea, Krys, of having a picture of the home. So just for the sake of using it as an example, can you grab me a picture of we won't use this obviously, grab me a picture of a $5 million listing. I think it's going to be a report card, Vladimir, is what I'm thinking, a report card, and then another letter that's a little bit of a narrative, if you will. So Vladimir, on the like kind of almost like a list style view, we'll have a little bit like iconography style, like a list of all the things that a $3 million or $5 million listing should have. So I'm going to pull up Foreplay. I use this as a visual inspiration. We got a lot of files that we saved here that we bookmark over the years, and these are typically ad campaigns. And so so this is an example, right? Pivot. You guys can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Right. Multiple cash offers, no showings, no repairs, no fees. I'm drawn to this style right here, this orchard style here. I'm just going to grab a screenshot of that and throw that into our Figma file. I think that could be really cool. Again, the theme that we're going to be using here, this is kind of what Vladimir was talking about earlier, or actually Andrew was saying, old way versus new way, Andrew. Okay, so this is kind of the direction in which Vladimir is going right now with it. Now, this is way too childish to send to a $10 million listing. And let's write kind of the first version, if you will, of a kind of outbound sales letter. So I think this will be really helpful. I'm thinking about this idea of if your home has hit the market, it did not sell, how do we then communicate in a clear way? And we'll go through kind of the opening, the attention grabbing headline, the emotion, and the call to action. How do we open up a letter like this? The hook is really compelling and attractive and gets people excited and feels like it's specifically meant for them. And the thought that I'm thinking here, guys, is something along the lines of was your house overpriced?
Jimmy, I don't want to derail you, but is the aha moment that we can't find anything online about the house, like the proof is in the pudding? Like, you have
that's a
this
good
$10
point,
million house and you dump it, like type in the address and go to Google, click videos, and like nothing comes up.
So Krys, what I'd say is the letter we're going to write, it's the only thing we got to change for that first letter is going to be that first hook. There are, let's say, 840 houses that sold over $3 million in the last few months. Yours wasn't one of them. There were 635 homes sold above $5 million in the last few months. Your home wasn't one of them. So we could, in theory, just personalize that one line, and then we can do 100 mailers to 100 different expireds as an example. All right, so there were 67 homes listed over $10 million that sold in the last few months, and your house wasn't one of them. What I want to do is just write in a way or kind of add commentary that's more like raw, like just thoughts, angles. Doesn't have to be grammatically correct, doesn't have to be, well thought out. Like just think about it in terms of, like, you see, we have this one hook. Now we want to build on this one hook. I always grab examples from other campaigns I've written. I kind of try to repurpose copy, so I have an idea here. Let me just read this out loud, guys, and you guys tell me what makes sense and if we can cut this down. There are 67 homes listed in Orange County above 10 million that have sold in the last few months, and your house wasn't one of them. Let me guess. You finally made the decision to sell your house. You contacted an agent. You cleaned it up. Maybe you made a few repairs, and then crickets. No offers, no showings, and endless excuses from your agent. That might be disparagement. We'll come back to that. Unfortunately, this scenario is becoming all too common. In fact, in the last 6 months, we've seen X homes expire. So, Krys, that'd be the data point you grab. Most agents simply will list your home and wait. But a great agent will have a proactive strategy targeting the right buyers, creating compelling marketing, and adjusting as needed to get the results. And then we can insert a success story without a price point. Okay. Yeah. All right. I actually dig this idea. What would be really interesting here is, Krys, if you shot a video for every one of these expireds that was like pulling up their home in the MLS. I guess this is like, I'm reminded of my friend Bob Milloway from a lifetime ago. Bob Milloway, you know what he used to do, guys? He used to print out the MLS sheet from the Matrix, and he would mark it up, right? Saying, doesn't have this, doesn't have this, doesn't have this. Print that out, put a letter saying, hey, I reviewed your listing. It's missing 5 of the 10 things that you should have. Here's my phone number. Call me if you want to relist it. He'd send it out, and he would get listings all the time from that type of campaign. I don't know how far you can go with it. Okay.
I think that's exactly what I wanted. My idea, and I just didn't know what the angle is. Like everybody, I should be Loom videoing every one of these expireds, and I think like how effective that'd be. Like I'm looking up your house, and I can't even find it on Google.
Correct. And so I think there is a 2-part letter to this, right? Which is, the first letter is we basically give them it's almost the pretext to the video you just provided, and the second is a full page letter with your face, their address, a big ass arrow pointing to a QR code, which is like, my marketing assessment or something like that. So let's design that, Vladimir. This could be really good. So let's hang with me here, guys, because I think we're landing the plane here. So I think this is where I've recorded a 3-minute and 17-second. We should call this something, Krys, like something that like it's a like professional listing review,
right,
of your home. Okay, of your home. Okay, we'll clean up that last line there for a second. Okay, and there's a QR code here. Okay, so one of the things that I like to do with ChatGPT is, the first thing I like to do is, so when I use AI, I never have AI create from nothing with just a prompt. I always have AI edit it. I think when AI creates content, it is almost always like a Hallmark movie, very generic, very cheesy. But if you give it good content, you give it good inspiration, it actually does a very good job of understanding the context of the campaign, and also can help improve it quite significantly. So this is a pretty raw campaign. So the first thing is that I want you to rate this campaign using my AEA formula on a scale 1 to 100. So AEA stands for attention, emotion, action. So let's just take a look here real quickly, rough and raw. Let's see what it can produce here for us. There you go. Okay, cool. You guys should be able to see this, okay? So what it should do here is it should break it up into, it's not listening, it's giving a, there you go, 85 on emotion, on action, or attention, excuse me. It is giving us a 90 on emotion, cool. Action, we giving us an 80. So overall an 85 at 100. Okay, so keeping the same style, and tone. Let's improve this letter, especially the action part. Okay, let's give it a go here. Yeah, oh, I like that line.
You're not giving up. Yeah.
See, this is what I'm saying about AI. It can sometimes come up with like, oh, that's a good line. So if you've read this far, it means you're not giving up. I mean, sometimes you gotta get one line for this thing. Okay. Here we go. I'm just updating the Google Doc here.
I was thinking, don't let your home sit on the market for another month. See what proactive strategy and discover how your home can be amongst the next 67 houses to sell, or give them.
Yeah, you
like,
can sort of, yeah.
throw them back.
You tie it back. So there are 67 homes listed over $10 million that sold in the last few months. We'll clean that line up, and your house wasn't one of them. Most people in your situation would be feeling defeated. That's a good word. You contacted an agent, prepared the home, listed on the market, then crickets. No offers, no showings, and endless excuses from your agents. Unfortunately, this scenario is becoming all too common. In fact, the number of homes that have expired have gone up 12 months. Okay, cool. Most agents would simply wait, list your home and wait. But a great agent will be proactive. Buyers, marketing, adjusting. If you've read this far, it means you're not giving up. That's why I've recorded a 3-minute professional listing review specifically for your home, highlighting exactly what needs to be done to turn things around. Now, I would say at this point, the way I would normally end that, let me stop sharing for a second. The way I would normally end that, guys, I would probably say something along the lines of like, after you watch the video, after you watch the review, contact me personally. Give me like it's almost like the next line assumes they did the thing above. So it's a little bit of the presumptive close. So like, hey, after you watch this video, like reach out to me directly. I look forward to us having a conversation. Something really straightforward and simple, as opposed to overly clever. Because now like they just read that second line, like, oh, I'm just gonna watch this damn thing, scan it, right? So one of the really cool things that ChatGPT does that people don't use, and I feel like this is a cheat code. I'm gonna share my screen here. You can prompt ChatGPT now that it has the context, which is important. This is where everyone screws up. It has the context. It understands what you're doing, saying, okay, this is the first letter in a 3-part letter series I want to use to market to this home. I want each letter to be connected and feel like a narrative. That's rough and raw. You guys get the idea. Can you create another angle for the second letter, and we'll view it together. In this second letter, I want to emphasize the importance of persistence and demonstrate that by the fact that I'm sending another letter, not just one. Give me your first version. Keep the same style and tone. Okay, so let's get this in a Google Doc here. All we're doing is just changing like 3 lines on each one of these letters,
Right.
the stats, and that's it. So this is what I'm saying. Like it's, I would call this like semi-custom, not fully custom. This is the first letter in theory that would be handwritten and sent. Now, Vladimir, I actually think you can get rid of the, try to remove the unfortunately all the way to 12 months. I want to just, whenever possible, I want to cut fat from these things. So get rid of that unfortunately, get rid of the in fact, get rid of those 2 lines. Vladimir doesn't let me edit Figma because I just destroy everything. Okay. So this is getting that way we can make that QR code a hell of a lot bigger. And then I think we just need a line after that, which is after you watch the video, comma, contact me at your number. We can discuss the next steps. You know what we got to do? We should not send an envelope. We should send a fucking FedEx mail. Okay? Because everyone opens up a FedEx mailer. Not like, a letter. If we're going to go after a $5 million listing, like, let's just do the math. Okay? We don't have to send it overnight, but maybe we will. But the idea, imagine getting a FedEx letter, and in the FedEx like mailer, whatever the overnight, they get it. You're opening that 100% of the time. You're not opening that. So
you think
if
all
we're like,
that's in it is the letter, just the 8.5 by 11 piece of paper?
well,
Not
this is the
folded?
thing is that I think like can we get it printed where it's like thicker stock, harder, right? Doesn't bend, doesn't get crumpled up, and it's just like maybe it's in a branded folder. And like, I mean, like, this is the thing about marketing is that the packaging and presentation of our marketing matters as our price increases. You guys with me on this? Like, there's a reason why the Rolls Royce is hand painted. There's also a reason why when they go to sell a Rolls Royce, you know where they sell it? They sell it at private jet parties. Because a Rolls Royce selling next to, a Gulfstream looks like, I can't buy the Gulfstream. I'll just pick up one of those Rolls Royces. So like the packaging and the presentation, the context, I think really matter. So if we commit to sending this in a FedEx envelope, we know it will get opened. We can do that for the first 25 of them. How much is it going to cost us? $250, to like mail that? Probably not even that much. I mean, if we send 25, can we get 10 scans, 15 scans? Now, okay, shit, now we're in the game. Now it's a door knock. Now it's a phone call, right, on the back of that.
I'm just trying to think through how to get to them digitally through this.
Yep.
Like what if you could find their email and send them something? Because I feel like it's very easy to find a single person's email versus trying to run an ad against one.
Let's kind of go back to the beginning. The goal here is to get a $5 million plus listing in the next 112 days. The strategy we have is we're going to go after higher end listings that have expired that have not relisted. Instead of mass marketing, we're going to put together a series of letters that are all connected and related, followed up with maybe door hangers, followed up with phone calls. And as part of the process, we're going to record a customized home audit for each one of these listings, identifying the things they could have done differently to get the price they were looking to get. We're going to mail that out, the first version in a FedEx, and then we're going to follow on with a few other letters. Our approach here is radically different than what any other agent's doing. And so, number one, out of the gates, I love that. Number two, if it works, and we'll be able to validate that very quickly, it's going to be a combination of a little bit of sweat equity, but also a very repeatable process. Sure. And you can crush process. I mean, there's no question about that piece of it. So in my mind, I'm like, all you're doing is there's 30 homes that expire in Orange County every month, give or take, ranging lower or a little higher. Can we get one or two of those to list with us? Because then if we do the math on that, we're like, shit, if we're getting between 1 and 2, we're getting between $3 to $6 million in production. This one strategy could legitimately be a $30 to $50 million or $30 to $72 million or $36 to $72 million strategy. So like if it works once, if it works in Orange County, then we say, okay, let's bring this thing to LA. Let's expand, and that number is going to go up a lot more. Go from, and so we can land and expand this, and then we can basically trim out any part of the process that doesn't really drive results. Maybe like, hey, letter number 3 is not needed, or the door hanger isn't really needed, or the phone calls are not really effective. So when we go to scale, we scale what actually works, not just the experiment. We don't scale the experiment. We scale the part of the experiment that actually drove results, as an example. As a next step, let me just digest this right now, Krys, but I will create letter number 2 and letter number 3. I'll create a door hanger with law tomorrow morning. We've got this first version that we're going to get out the door. In the meantime, you start working on the list. You find the
Right.
list of expired listings. You start shooting the videos. You start
Right.
getting the data. And then, like I said earlier, we'll give the first one a go. And like maybe we'll try, Chris, like maybe we'll do 25 of these.
Well,
25
and it's pretty
homes.
manageable because I could knock out. That's the thing is when you think about it, it's like if I'm going to try to commit to 30 a month, I you could easily do 5 of these videos a day. Like even if each video is 3 to 5 minutes long, it's not that
Super.
much.
It's not that much. And listen, at $4 million, you're looking at a $60,000 to $80,000 commission check in that range. I know we can't talk about commission, but like you're looking at damn near six figures on the back end of this thing. Yeah, it's probably worth a 3-minute video, or probably worth 33-minute videos at this stage.
Sure.
So I think there's a lot of things I like about it. Now, this might be a colossal failure. It may not work at all, but I don't know, man. Like, I think what's going to happen is I think we're going to get some good feedback, meaning that the feedback will either be your phone will ring, or you'll have a conversation. Someone's going to tell you, like, give us something that we can work with that we can make adjustments on.
And I would say this, I know I'm not here to be, motivational and rah-rah, but I asked myself this, what actions am I taking on a daily, weekly basis to get me closer to this specific goal, right? Like
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
closed these $3 million deals, but it wasn't as the result of this focused effort. They've like fallen in my lap as a result of
Yeah.
all the efforts I do broadly. So it's like, how much are we really doing towards the specific goal that we've set for ourselves? And that's why I'm sort of excited about this because, I haven't approached it that way. And that's why I'm not convinced I can't do it because I've never said, this is exactly what I want. Let's just go for that.
Yeah. No, I am. My partner in crime, Chris Smith, used to say, "What you focus on, you find." And I don't know if he stole that from somebody, but it's a great line, and it's always something I think about, which is like our focus is to get you a $5 million listing. We want to do it in 112 days. We're going to go after a very specific subset of the market as part of our strategy. It may or may not work, but we're putting in the effort required to get the outcome we're trying to get. And I mean, man, we're going to pop the champagne when that first person says, this dude sent me a FedEx. Like, what? Like, of course I opened it. Of course I scanned it. So I think I think it's all these little touch points along the journey. They're going to create the opportunity. And if we can get you in front of these folks, I think your energy and your vibe is going to get us to where we need to be in terms of getting this thing done. So I'm excited about this. We will obviously wrap up these campaigns tomorrow. And Chris, I'm ready to get on our horse. So if we can get these things kind of set up and be ready to go out the door end of week, first thing next week, I think we're going to be in a great position. Chris, text me the data when you got it. Shoot me over video. Let's get the first version of this letter kind of ready to rock and roll. And man, let's start sending people some overnight express mail. Okay. I love it.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Andrew. And thank you a lot.